It's tough because of overcrowding. You get a lot of gang violence, you get fights, you get a lot of people that are frustrated.
It's getting quite scary and quite mad with how full it's getting. Sometimes you can feel the tension in the air.
It makes it harder to get people into purposeful activity, and all of that can create frustration in the system. And when there's frustration in the system, that's when we can see instability and violence as a consequence of that.
I'm Julia Appleby, Home Affairs correspondent at the Sun newspaper, and inside HMP Pentonville, a Category B men's prison in North London, we've been given exclusive access to speak to prisoners and members of staff about how issues around overcrowding are affecting the prison estate.
My name's Mark Blower. I've been here for about 7 months, and yeah, this is my first time in prison. Challenges is obviously coming away from your family. Obviously, I've got 2 little children on the outside, so it was a very nervous time for me to leave them at such a young age, and it was scary to come into a place where you don't know people, you're adjusting to a whole new life, you're not around your friends and families, so yeah, it is a scary environment.
Hi, I'm Michael Lewis. I'm 38 years old. I'm serving 8 years, 3 months for drug offence. It's tough because of overcrowding. You get less time out, get less officers to provide certain things for you. You get a lot of gang violence, you get fights. You get a lot of people that are frustrated.
Can you talk a bit more about the violence? How often is that and what's it like?
You'll have at least 2 alarm bells a day. That's minimum. That's on any wing. Maybe not as much on this wing, it's induction, but in the mainstream of the prison, you'll definitely hear at least 2 alarm bells a day.
And what sort of incidents are those responding to?
Some of them be code blues, which would be a drug overdose maybe. Some of them be fighting, some of them be refusing bang up. Some might be refusing to go to court because they don't want to go to court, or they don't believe they've got court, or they might not actually have court but they're being forced to court because they've been told they have to get them to court. I've had somebody in my cell, an old cellmate, he tried to hang himself, and it was pot luck that I woke up in the middle of the night. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I woke up, I looked, didn't see him, and I looked behind me where the toilet was and he was hanging. So I've jumped up, pressed the bell, got him, sat him on my shoulder, and I just waited till staff came because they couldn't open the door on their own. They've got to wait until there's a number of staff because it's night time, there's only a few staff in the jail. So I waited, and as soon as he heard the gate go at the end of the landing, he's opened the door, cut him down, and then he saw to him.
This is the induction wing. I've been on here for 7 months, and I've changed 8 cells, and I've had 13 different cellmates in 7 months. So it's big swap and change. It's just like a Ferris wheel that never stops. People are coming in and out every day, and you can just see it getting fuller and fuller. There's hardly any TVs, maybe no kettles going around, no bedding for stuff, because how many people are just coming in every day. It's getting quite scary and quite mad with how full it's getting.
When you say scary, what do you mean?
Just like how obviously you've got all different members of different areas coming in. So you've got different postcodes coming in, you've got obviously one here, one there, and you can just, sometimes you can feel the tension in the air. Obviously, as I said, this is the induction wing, so you don't know what people are coming in from the reception. Other wings, they've got all their set, all the set places of people that are staying in there, because it's an induction wing, people are coming in every day, so you don't know who's coming in, so you can sort of feel the vibe when there's maybe something might happen or something might not happen.
People from this postcode and that postcode, if they're on the same wing and they meet, it's going to be some sort of violence. It's just stupid. But it is getting bad. It's getting bad. People can't move to certain wings or jails in fear for their life because they've got problems with other people.
We're a local remand prison in the north of London. There is gang violence, there is violence because there's people with severe mental health conditions. We do have a really good healthcare team, but you have all of these people in society who are very, very vulnerable, who are then brought into an environment which they're behind their doors, the violence just escalates, and when it's busy, there's just we're at that operational capacity, like there's just not many places for that pressure to go, so it kind of ends up coming out in the form of violence, which then obviously as officers, we're on the front line, we have to kind of be the first on scene and to deal with that and to de-escalate it.
I think some of the issues we've faced around overcrowding have been really about just the constant capacity issues that we're dealing with, and actually that becomes a major risk, and because it's a major risk becomes a major priority, and because it's a major priority we then find ourselves spending probably a disproportionate amount of time trying to deal with capacity, which is the right thing to do because obviously it's prudent to make sure that we've got capacity in the system to be able to serve the courts in here in London. However, what it does is it takes up, like I said, a disproportionate amount of time because actually, there's other facets to running a jail that could be, which needs some thinking time, which me and the team need to spend some time talking about, like reducing reoffending, making sure, there's the right employment upon release, there's housing available. When you're spending your entire time talking and thinking about capacity and making sure there's space in the system, your time's taken up thinking about that rather than the other facets. Only having 9 spaces in Pentonville prison out of the just over 1,200 we've got just creates a lot of problems. X amount of number going out, a number coming in which we're not sure of because we're not sure who will get convicted by the courts or placed on remand, and then so having that small margin of error is what I would call it. Doesn't allow the system to breathe, doesn't allow us to move people around depending on their needs, and means we're in this constant cycle of just making sure we've got space. So everybody's focus on a daily basis is making sure that we've got space to serve the courts at the end of the day, basically.
But when you're getting the numbers in, you need to create 30 spaces and you've got minimal space to work with on the other wings. It is a lot of pressure. But yeah, we kind of have to get by. If there's that amount of people is coming in, we have to make the spaces. But it does make life quite difficult, and I think it's quite well known that when the capacity is at such high pressure, kind of violence increases. You don't have a lot of buffer room because, say for example, an incident happens and 2 prisoners are caught, we have very minimal spaces to separate them and keep them apart. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it has been testing.
Mm-hmm. Is that so? You've been here about a year?
Yeah.
That constant pressure over the last
it kind of ebbs and flows, and obviously there's the new early release scheme, which is definitely kind of letting us breathe a bit just by giving us some spaces to work with. It kind of just takes the pressure off us as a bit and kind of allows us to focus on things that prisons really should be doing, which is building that lasting relationship with prisoners, making sure that eventually, obviously this is a remand prison, so the main focus is courts, but when they go to maybe a lower category prison or a sentence prison, then they're ready for that and then ultimately ready for their release. But when the capacity pressure is so high, it kind of makes it hard to focus on those things because it's kind of just at 100% all the time.
So what kind of preparations have you been undertaking for STS-40 and what sort of difference do you think it'll make?
So preparations have been very much working through everybody's case files, making sure that we're making the right decisions with regards to who we're releasing early, making sure that we're working really closely with our partners in probation, with our health providers, with the local police here in Met Police within London, to make sure that we're protecting the public, those that we're releasing. We're doing everything we can to support them upon release. As an organisation, we've put in lots of checks and balances along the way. So obviously we've got a framework that we move through, which making sure that we're applying the right exemption criteria. That is being checked at a regional level as well. So actually, we've got a lot of people checking our own checking, but we've got a regional team checking that as well. And then at a national level, that's being dip tested as well. So there's multiple levels of assurance taking place, making sure that we're releasing the right people, that hopefully we can manage that risk in the community, and they can go on to lead law-abiding lives.
I've not been sentenced yet. I get sentenced in November, so I've not been sentenced yet, but hopefully I fall in the 40% category, and if everything goes well, I will be back home to my family as soon as possible. So, as I said, that's my main aim. I missed my son's first birthday, I missed the birth of my daughter, and yeah, I just want to get back being the family man that I was, really, basically. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, even though it's small, it is there, but I just got to keep pushing forward, basically, and get home as quick as possible, basically.